This month in history, January. Hey Crash, today we're going to be taking a look at the month of January throughout all of history. This is a new style of video we'll hopefully be doing as additional monthly content, depending on what our viewers think.
Oh great, more work.
Think of it as a new opportunity to be the annoying, obnoxious guy that you love to be.
Fuck you.
See, that's the spirit. These videos will be jam-packed full of January-related facts, and we can assure you that you will leave this video with some new knowledge. Crash here will be with me as per usual, but he might also throw in his own little segments here and there too.
Oh, really?
Did you bring the posters, Crash?
Yep, they're right over there.
Go get them. We'll need those to get started.
Anything to make this experience over sooner. Let's do this!
Prepare to be absolutely bombarded by facts.
January 1st!
Did you know that originally not all countries celebrated January 1st as the official start of the year? Many began doing so later on. Germany in 1544, Spain and Portugal in 1556, France in 1564, Scotland in 1600, and Russia in 1700. In 1781, the first edition of the Times was published.
About time, am I right? This new video thing really isn't going my way.
In 1962, the United States Navy SEALs were established. Please, just give it a rest, buddy. This is sad. In 1971, cigarette advertisements were banned on American television.
January 2nd.
The US president signs a bill lowering the maximum US speed limit to 55 miles per hour in 1974. In 1981, British police arrest Peter Sutcliffe, known as serial killer the Yorkshire Ripper.
January 3rd.
Alaska was admitted as the 49th US state in 1959. In 1999, the Mars Polar Lander is launched by NASA.
I would like to apologize for my humor being so off today, but when you said Mars Polar Lander, this popped into my mind. January 4th!
In 1717, the Netherlands, Great Britain, and France signed the Triple Alliance. Solomon Northup regains his freedom after being kidnapped and sold into slavery in the American South, his memoir 12 Years a Slave becoming a national bestseller in 1853. In 1914, the Ford Motor Company announces the 8-hour workday and that it would pay a living wage of at least $5 for a day's labor. The Daily Mail became the first transoceanic newspaper in 1944. In 1066, Harold II is crowned King of England. Celia, the last known Pyrenean ibex, was found dead after a tree had landed on her in the year 2000.
January 7th!
In 1797, the modern Italian flag we see today is used for the first time. 2 gunmen kill 12 and injure 11 in a shooting at the offices of satirical French magazine Charlie Hebdo in 2015.
Jesus Christ, we're only 7 days into all this history and we're already faced with some intense shit.
History is history, Crash. We can't simply ignore things because they're of a negative nature.
Speak for yourself. January 8th.
In 1940, Britain introduces food rationing during World War II. US President George W. Bush signs into law the No Child Left Behind Act, based on the premise that higher standards and measurable goals could improve students' outcomes in education in 2002.
January 9th.
In 2007, the original iPhone is introduced by Apple CEO Steve Jobs at a Macworld keynote in San Francisco. The New England Telephone and Telegraph installs the first ever battery-operated telephone switchboard in Lexington, Massachusetts in 1894.
January 10th!
In 1863, the London Underground is opened, now known as the world's oldest underground railway. In 1946, the United States Army Signal Corps successfully conducts Project Diana, bouncing radio waves off of the moon and receiving the reflected signals.
January 11th!
In 1927, Louis B. Mayer, head of film studio Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, announces the creation of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. In 1964, the Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Luther Terry, MD, publishes the landmark report that claims smoking may be hazardous to health, leading to national and worldwide anti-smoking efforts.
January 12th.
19 European nations, including France, Germany, and Switzerland, agreed to forbid human cloning in 1998. In 2001, Downtown Disney opens to the public as part of the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California.
January 13th.
In 1910, the first ever public radio broadcast takes place, a live performance of the operas Cavalleria Rusticana and Pagliacci, sent out over the airwaves from the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City. In 1939, the Black Friday bushfires burn almost 20,000 square kilometres of land, or 4.9 million acres, in Victoria, Australia, claiming the lives of 71 people.
January 14th.
In 1952, NBC debuts their morning show Today, the first of its genre on American television and in the world, which has now been running for 64 years. In 1973, Elvis Presley sets the record as the most watched broadcast by an individual entertainer in television history, with his Aloha from Hawaii broadcast via satellite.
Okay, that's a shitload of information, buddy. I think we need to break the episode up with something a little less intense. Oh, I know. How about I show the viewers a bunch of notable people who were born this month?
I'm not sure that would be...
Actor Mel Gibson, author of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, Mr. Motherfucking Worldwide, television host Ellen DeGeneres, media proprietor Oprah Winfrey, and last but not least, internet super meme Maddie B.
Can I continue now?
Nope. If I've spoken about birth, it's only fair that I also speak about death, right?
That doesn't sound particularly uplifting.
26th U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt, inventor of Braille Louis Braille, musician David Bowie, actor Heath Ledger, spiritual leader Gandhi, author of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland Lewis Carroll, inventor of instant noodles Momofuku Ando. I hope I didn't fuck that up. No! We lost a great man on that day. January 15th.
In 1559, Elizabeth I is crowned Queen of England in Westminster Abbey, London, England. In 2001, content encyclopedia Wikipedia goes online.
January 16th.
In 1945, Adolf Hitler moves into his underground bunker, the so-called Führer bunker. In 2005, Adriana Iliescu, a Romanian university lecturer and novelist, gives birth at the age of 66, breaking the record for the world's oldest birth mother.
January 17th.
In 1982, Cold Sunday takes place, where, in numerous cities in the United States, temperatures fall to their lowest levels in over 100 years. In 1929, E.C. Seeger's cartoon character appears for the first time in the Thimble Theatre comic strip Popeye the Sailor Man.
January 18th.
In 474,
Geez, that's a while back.
7-year-old Leo II succeeds his maternal grandfather, Leo I, as Byzantine emperor. He dies 10 months later.
Lovely.
In 1993, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is officially recognized for the first time in all 50 states. In 1953, almost 72% of all television sets in the US tune into I Love Lucy to watch Lucy give birth. In 2012, Hong Kong-based file-sharing website Mega Upload is shut down by the FBI.
Why, cruel world? Oh, sweet. January 20th.
In 1929, the first full-length talking motion picture filmed outdoors was released, entitled Old Arizona. In 2006, witnesses report seeing a bottlenose whale swimming in the River Thames, the first time the species had been seen in the Thames since records began in 1913.
January 21st.
In 1908, New York City passes the Sullivan Ordinance, making it illegal for women to smoke in public, only to have the measure vetoed by the mayor. In one of the largest drug busts in American history, taking place in 1998, the United States Coast Guard intercepts a ship with over 4,300 kilograms, or 9,500 pounds, of cocaine on board.
January 22nd.
In 2002, Kmart becomes the largest retail in United States history to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. In 2006, Kobe Bryant of the Los Angeles Lakers scores 81 points in the NBA game versus the Toronto Raptors, the second highest total in NBA history.
January 23rd!
In 1556, the Shanxi Earthquake, the deadliest in history, hits Shanxi Province, China, with a death total as high as 830,000. In 1957, inventor Walter Frederick Morrison sells the rights to his flying disc to the Wham-O toy company, who later renames it the Frisbee. In 1986, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducts its first members, including Ray Charles, James Brown, and Elvis Presley.
January 24th.
In 1983, Hulk Hogan pins the Iron Sheik for the World Wrestling Federation title, beginning his 1,474-day reign. In 2016, TV drama The X-Files returns after 13 years.
January 25th!
In 1961, Walt Disney's 101 Dalmatians is released. In 1971, Charles Manson and 3 female family members are found guilty of the 1969 Tate LaBianca murders.
January 26th.
In 1905, the world's largest diamond ever, the Cullinan, is found at the Premier Mine near Pretoria in South Africa, weighing 3,106.75 carats, or 0.621350 kilograms.
Sweet mother of pearl!
In 1965, Hindi becomes the official language of India.
January 27th. Oh, hey, that's my birthday.
In 1984, Michael Jackson suffers second-degree burns to his scalp while filming for a Pepsi commercial. In 1992, Bill Clinton, then a presidential candidate, is accused by model and actress Jennifer Flowers of a 12-year affair.
January 28th.
In 1887, work begins on the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. In 1965, the current design of the flag of Canada is chosen by an Act of Parliament.
January 29th.
In 1845, The Raven is published in the Evening Mirror in New York, the first publication with the name of the author, Edgar Allan Poe. In 2015, Malaysia officially declared the disappearance of the missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 as an accident, the passengers and crew presumed to be dead.
January 30th.
In 1933, Adolf Hitler is sworn in as Chancellor of Germany.
Bad move, boys.
In 2003, the Kingdom of Belgium officially recognizes same-sex marriages.
January motherfucking 31st! Yeah, we're done!
In 1950, US President Harry S. Truman announces a program to develop the hydrogen bomb. In 2010, Avatar becomes the first film to gross over $2 billion worldwide.
Sweet motherfucking mother of pearl!
Well, that concludes the first installment of our new monthly miniseries.
Can I go?
Hopefully now you know something new and interesting about the month of January.
Can I go?
Be sure to let us know what you...
Can I go?
Crash!
Can I go?
Fine then, go. This month in history, February. Hey Crash, today marks the second installment of our monthly miniseries, This Month in History.
The excitement is overwhelming.
In case you guys missed the first video, in this series we take a look at a bunch of events throughout history that occurred in the given month. Today we'll be discussing all that occurred in February, so grab the posters, Crash. There are a ton of facts ahead of us.
Ugh, fine.
Come on, Crash, get out here. Crash! Alright, fine. I'll just have to show the people at home this embarrassing photo of you I found on one of your old MySpace profiles.
Fuck! February 1st!
In 1964, the Beatles have their first #1 hit in the United States with I Want to Hold Your Hand. In 2008, 2 suicide bombings occur in Baghdad, Iraq, killing 98 and injuring 2008.
February 2nd!
In 1933, 2 sisters, Christine and Leah Papin, work as maids, murder their employer's wife and daughter in Le Mans, France. The case is the subject of a number of French films and plays. In 2004, Swiss tennis player Roger Federer becomes the #1 ranked men's singles player, a position he holds for a record 237 weeks.
February 3rd!
In 1972, the 7-day 1972 Iran blizzard begins, which kills at least 4,000 people, making it the deadliest snowstorm in history.
Ooh, those figures are chilling! Yeah, that one was pretty uncalled for.
In 1984, John Buster and his research team at Harbor UCLA Medical Center announced history's first embryo transfer from one woman to another, resulting in a live birth.
February 4th.
In 1703, in Edo, now Tokyo, 46 of the 47 Ronin commit ritual suicide as part of the Samurai Code of Honor, avenging their master's death. In 2004, Facebook, a mainstream online social networking site, is founded by Mark Zuckerberg.
February 5th.
In 1971, astronauts land on the moon in the Apollo 14 mission. In 1997, the so-called Big Three banks in Switzerland announced the creation of a $71 million fund to aid Holocaust survivors and their families.
February 6th.
In 1958, 8 Manchester United Football Club players and 15 other passengers are killed in the Munich air disaster. In 1988, Michael Jordan makes his signature slam dunk from the free throw line, inspiring Air Jordan and the Jumpman logo.
That's easy though, even I can do that. Watch this! Oh! February 7th!
In 1935, the classic board game Monopoly is invented. In 1940, the second full-length animated Walt Disney film, Pinocchio, premieres. In 1995, Ramzi Youssef, the mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, is arrested in Islamabad, Pakistan.
February 8th!
In 1952, Elizabeth II is proclaimed Queen of the United Kingdom. In 1960, the first 8 brass star plaques are installed in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
February 9th!
In 1895, William G. Morgan creates a game called Mintonet, which soon comes to be referred to as volleyball. In 1942, year-round daylight saving time is reinstated in the United States as a wartime measure to help conserve energy resources. In 1942, Glenn Miller received the first ever gold record for selling 1 million copies of his song Chattanooga Choo Choo. In 1996, the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue defeats Russian chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov in chess for the first time.
February 11th. I think I'm okay now.
In 1978, China lifts a ban on works by Aristotle, William Shakespeare, and Charles Dickens. In 1990, Nelson Mandela is released from Victor Verster prison outside Cape Town, South Africa, after 27 years as a political prisoner.
February 12th.
In 1851, Edward Hargreaves announced that he has found gold in Bathurst, Australia, starting the Australian gold rushes. In 1993, 2-year-old James Bolger is abducted from a shopping centre by two 10-year-old boys who torture and murder him. In 1994, 4 men break into the National Gallery of Norway to steal Edvard Munch's iconic painting, The Scream.
February 13th.
In 1880, Thomas Edison observes the Edison effect. In 1961, an allegedly 500,000-year-old rock is discovered in Olanka, California, US, that appears to anachronistically encase a spark plug.
February 14th.
In 1849, in New York City, James Knox Polk becomes the first serving president of the United States to have his photograph taken. In 2005, YouTube is launched by a group of college students, eventually becoming the largest video sharing website in the world and a main source for viral videos.
Once again, Culture, you have managed to overload our viewers with information. I think we need to talk about life and death again.
You know, I'm still debating whether or not that segment is...
Here are some notable people who were born in February. Tech entrepreneur Steve Jobs, musician Ed Sheeran, soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo.
Crash, can we just...
And here are some notable people who unfortunately passed away in February. Spiritual leader Gandhi, cloned mammal Dolly the fucking sheep, singer Whitney Houston. God bless that beautiful voice.
I swear, if you cut me off one more time, I'll show everybody the... Alright, that does it. Everyone feast your eyes on this.
Fuck this! Fuck you, Culture! This is the end!
Now that sounds like something you would have said back then.
Why, cruel world? Why must I live on in this orange hellhole?
Crash, just say your line.
Okay. February 15th.
In 1879, US President Rutherford B. Hayes signs a bill allowing female attorneys to argue cases before the Supreme Court of the United States. In 1992, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced in Milwaukee to life in prison.
February 16th.
In 1968, in Haleyville, Alabama, the first 911 emergency telephone system goes into service. In 1992, LA Lakers retire Magic Johnson's number 32 uniform.
February 17th, baby.
In 1996, in Philadelphia, world champion Garry Kasparov beats the Deep Blue supercomputer in a chess match.
An unexpected redemption.
In 2014, The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon premieres on NBC.
February 18th, motherfucker!
In 1930, Elm Farm Ollie becomes the first cow to fly in a fixed-wing aircraft, and also the first cow to be milked in an aircraft. In 2001, FBI agent Robert Hansen is arrested for spying for the Soviet Union, being convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment.
February 19th.
In 1981, George Harrison is ordered to pay ABKCO Music $587,000 for subconscious plagiarism. In 1985, William J. Schroeder becomes the first recipient of an artificial heart to leave hospital.
February 20th.
In 1943, American movie studio executives agree to allow the Office of War Information to censor movies. In 1960, Jimi Hendrix, rock and roll guitarist, plays his first gig. In 2013, the smallest extrasolar planet, Kepler 37b, is discovered.
February 21st.
In 1947, in New York City, Edwin Land demonstrates the first instant camera, the Polaroid Land camera, to a meeting of the Optical Society of America. In 1952, the British government, under Winston Churchill, abolishes identity cards in the UK to set the people free. In 1965, Malcolm X is assassinated at the Audibon Ballroom in New York City.
February 22nd.
In 1974, Samuel Bike tries and fails to assassinate US President Richard Nixon. In 2006, at least 6 men staged Britain's biggest robbery, stealing £53 million, or $92.5 million, from a Securitas depot in Tonbridge, Kent.
Yo, it's February 23rd!
In 1999, Eminem releases his first major record album, the Slim Shady LP. In 2010, unknown criminals pour more than 2.5 million litres of diesel oil and other hydrocarbons into into the river Lambro in northern Italy, sparking an environmental disaster.
February 24th.
In 1920, the Nazi Party is founded as a political party in Germany. In 1999, the US state of Arizona executes Karl Legrand, a German national convicted of murder during a botched bank robbery, in spite of Germany's legal action to attempt to save him.
February 25th.
In 1862, paper currency, known as greenbacks, were introduced in the United States by President Abraham Lincoln. In 1932, Austrian immigrant Adolf Hitler gets German citizenship.
February 26th.
In 1983, Michael Jackson's Thriller album goes #1 and stays #1 for 37 weeks. In 1998, Oprah Winfrey is found not guilty in her beef defamation trial brought by Texas cattlemen after making disparaging comments on her talk show.
February 27th.
In 1991, singer James Brown is released from prison. In 2007, the Shanghai Stock Exchange falls 9%, the largest drop in 10 years.
February 28th.
In 1933, German President Paul von Hindenburg abolishes free expression of opinion. In 1983, the final episode of MASH airs, with a record of 125 million people watching live in the US.
I fucking hate you, culture. I mean, February 29th.
In 1988, New York City Mayor Ed Koch calls President Ronald Reagan a wimp in the war on drugs. In 2008, Misha de Fonseca admits to fabricating her memoir, Misha, a memoir of the Holocaust years, in which she claimed to have lived with a pack of wolves in the woods during the Holocaust.
As if people couldn't figure that shit out for themselves anyway.
Well, there you have it. The February edition of This Month in History is all done and dusted. We hope you've learned something new about the month. And if not, just take a look at this.
For fuck's sake, stop showing that to everyone!
This Month in History, March. Hey Crash, today we're going to create the third episode of our monthly mini-series, This Month in History, which means that sequentially speaking, this time we're focusing on the month of March. Crash? What are you doing?
The month.
Wow, okay. Seriously, your jokes are on a very steep decline these days.
Oh, come on! I could have taken that the dirty route, that's what she said, and did this! Do you get it? Do you get it, culture? Doing the month!
Steep decline, buddy.
Whatever, let's just get on with the episode.
Gladly.
March 1st.
In 1896, physicist Henry Becquerel discovers radioactivity. In 1961, United States President JFK establishes the Peace Corps.
March 2nd.
In 1882, Queen Victoria narrowly escapes assassination when Roderick McLean shoots at her while boarding a train in Windsor. In 1990, Nelson Mandela is elected Deputy President of the African National Congress.
March 3rd.
In 1887, Anne Sullivan begins teaching 6-year-old blind-deaf Helen Keller. In 1985, a magnitude 8.3 earthquake strikes the Valparaiso region of Chile, killing 177 and leaving nearly 1 million people homeless. In 2005, Steve Fossett becomes the first person to fly an airplane non-stop around the world solo without refueling.
Now that's some risky shit.
In 1998, the Supreme Court of the United States rules that federal laws banning on-the-job sexual harassment also apply when both parties are the same sex. In 2012, Vladimir Putin wins the Russian presidential election amid allegations of voter fraud.
March 5th.
In 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt proclaims a 10-day bank holiday, closing all US banks and freezing all financial transactions. In 1960, Elvis Presley ends a 2-year hitch serving in the United States Army.
March 6th.
In 1857, the US Supreme Court rules Africans cannot be US citizens. In 1983, the first United States Football League game is played.
March 7th.
In 1912, polar explorer Roald Amundsen announces the discovery of the South Pole.
I suppose that's impressive and all, but what about this pole?
In 1988, radio star Howard Stern releases his first ever pay-per-view underpants and negligee party, live in front of a studio audience, all stripped to their underpants and lingerie.
March 8th.
In 1986, Martina Navratilova is the first tennis player to earn $10 million. In 1979, Dutch tech company Philips demonstrates the compact disc publicly for the first time.
March 9th.
In 1945, 334 US B-29 superfortresses attacked Tokyo with 120,000 firebombs. In 1959, the Barbie doll makes its debut at the American International Toy Fair in New York.
And thus female body image issues began. March 10th.
In 1902, a United States Court of Appeals rules that Thomas Edison did not invent the movie camera. In 2015, the family of Marvin Gaye win a record $7.3 million lawsuit for music copyright infringement against Robin Thicke, Pharrell Williams, and T.I.
March 11th.
In 1918, the first case of Spanish flu occurs, the start of a devastating worldwide pandemic. In 1991, Janet Jackson signs a $40 million 3-album deal with Virgin Records.
March 12th.
In 1994, the Church of England ordains its first female priest. In 2009, financier Bernard Madoff pleads guilty in New York to scamming $18 billion, the largest in Wall Street's history.
March 13th, baby!
In 1781, astronomer William Herschel sees what he thinks is a comet, but is actually the discovery of the planet Uranus. In 1997, the UFO sighting Phoenix lights are seen over Phoenix, Arizona, by hundreds of people and by millions on television.
March 14th!
In 1931, Alam Ara, India's first talking film, is released. In 1794, inventor Eli Whitney is granted a patent for the cotton gin, a machine used to quickly and easily separate cotton from their seeds.
March 15th.
In 1985, the first internet domain name is registered, symbolics.com. In 1991, 4 LA police are charged with beating Rodney King, raising public concern about police treatment of minorities in the US.
Well, I think we all know what time it is. Let's take a look at some notable people who were born in March. Pop star Justin Bieber. I don't like that guy. Pawn stars Rick Harrison. I have no idea who that is. Terrorist Osama bin Laden. Let's all hope he's rotting in hell where Allah can't find him. Oh, but speaking of death, it's time for the opposite. The following names are people who died during the month of March. Actor Leonard Nimoy, may the force be with you. Holocaust victim Anne Frank. Premier of the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin. And spiritual leader Gandhi.
Whoa. Really? Gandhi? Again? He's been a notable death in both the January and the February episodes. How does this make sense?
Culture, have some respect. It's Gandhi! He's a fucking well-seasoned, sacred, spiritually superior, master prestige, top-notch, expert-level faith daddy. He can do anything.
Ugh, whatever. For the sake of the people watching the video though, I would just like to point out that his real date of death is actually the 30th of January 1948. Just wanted to clear that up.
You're no fun. March 16th!
In 1972, John Lennon and Yoko Ono are served with deportation papers. In 1989, a 4,400-year-old mummy is found near the Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt.
March 17th!
In 1968, as a result of nerve gas testing in Skull Valley, Utah, over 6,000 sheep are found dead. In 1985, serial killer Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, commits the first 2 murders in his Los Angeles murder spree.
March 18th.
In 1985, the first episode of Australian soap opera Neighbours debuts. In 1992, in a national referendum, white South Africans vote overwhelmingly in favour of ending apartheid.
March 19th. God, ASMR's dumb.
In 1991, the NFL stripped Phoenix of the 1993 Super Bowl hosting, due to Arizona not recognizing Martin Luther King Day. In 2002, Zimbabwe is suspended from the Commonwealth on charges of human rights abuses and of electoral fraud, following a turbulent presidential election.
March 20th!
In 1991, Michael Jackson signs a $65 million 6-album deal with Sony Records. In 2015, a solar eclipse, equinox, and a supermoon all occur on the same day.
March 21st.
In 1970, the first San Diego Comic-Con International takes place at the US Grand Hotel. In 2006, the social media site Twitter is founded.
Curse you, Twitter! You publicize all my deepest, darkest secrets!
March the 22nd.
In 2012, Australia's most wanted man, Malcolm Madden, is captured after 7 years on the run in Gloucestershire, New South Wales. In 2013, American rock band My Chemical Romance announced their breakup. Hey Crash, does that make you upset? Huh?
Ha ha! You don't have the upper hand this time, asshole! Before the show began, I did a little background research, and I managed to find one of your old MySpace profiles, bitch! I didn't take a look at the images because I wanted to save the reaction for the video. But prepare to feel the same humiliation I felt, you piece of shit!
Go on then, do what you will. I'm an open book.
It's loading. Come on. Come on! Fuck. Moving on, March 23rd!
In 1956, Pakistan becomes the first Islamic republic in the world. In 2007, after some initial hesitation, Emma Watson signs on to appear as Hermione in the final 3 Harry Potter films.
March 24th!
In 1837, Canada gives African-Canadian men the right to vote. In 1832, founder of Mormonism Joseph Smith is beaten, tarred, and feathered in Ohio.
Melancholy March 25th.
In 2015, British musician Zayn Malik announces he's leaving the band One Direction.
March 26th.
In 1953, Dr. Jonas Salk announces a vaccine to prevent polio. In 1992, Mike Tyson is sentenced to 6 years for the rape of Desiree Washington.
March 27th.
In 1915, Typhoid Mary, real name Mary Mellon, is arrested and returned to quarantine on North Brother Island, New York, after spending 5 years evading health authorities and causing several further outbreaks of typhoid. In 1998, the Food and Drug Administration approves Viagra for use as a treatment for male impotence, the first pill to be approved for this condition in the United States.
Only on the 3rd month and I'm already running out of ways to say all the days of the month, March 28th.
In 1968, Brazilian high school student Edson Luiz de Lima Souto is shot by the police in a protest for cheaper meals at a restaurant for low-income students. In 2013, Pope Francis becomes the first pope to wash the feet of women in the Maundy Thursday service.
March 29th.
In 1795, Ludwig von Beethoven, aged 24, has his debut performance as a pianist in Vienna. In 1848, the Niagara Falls stops flowing for 30 hours due to an ice jam.
Almost done. March 30th.
In 1796, Carl Friedrich Gauss, a German mathematician, discovers the construction of the heptadecagon. In 1987, Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers sells for a record £22.5 million, or $39.7 million.
March 31st. Fucking done.
In 1889, the Eiffel Tower officially opens in Paris, retaining the record for the tallest man-made structure at 300 meters for 41 years. Well, there's yet another episode down, only 9 to go.
What the fuck do you mean, only, huh? That's heaps!
Hey, just be grateful you're not doing my job, okay? Articulating these facts isn't something I see you doing a particularly good job with.
You're probably right. Being smart must suck.
Oh, not at all. I mean, it definitely has its advantages, like recognizing the possibility of you tracking down a certain old social media profile, and the ability to remember certain old login details, and knowing the basics of Adobe Photoshop.
I knew it! This image is a fake! Thank God for that. I was beginning to harbor a little jealousy there.
Hey, Crash, think again. This month in history, April. Hey Crash, in today's video we're going to talk about the month of April.
Oh no, it's not another one of those This Month in History videos, is it?
Indeed it is.
For fuck's sake, I was dreading this moment before coming into the studio today. I always seem to get emotionally obliterated in these videos.
Come on man, it's all in good fun. How about this? I'll do my best to be a little bit more mindful this episode.
I would appreciate that very much. Thanks, buddy.
Crash?
I've made a fool of myself this time, haven't I?
Yeah.
God damn it! April 1st.
In 2001, same-sex marriage becomes legal in the Netherlands, the first contemporary country to allow it. In 2004, Google announces Gmail to the public for the first time.
April 2nd.
In 1956, As the World Turns and The Edge of Night premiere on CBS, becoming the first daytime dramas to debut in the 30-minute format. In 2010, Kobe Bryant signs a 3-year contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers worth $87 million.
April 3rd.
In 1975, Bobby Fischer is stripped of world chess title for refusing to defend it. In 2012, US President Barack Obama officially secures the Democratic presidential nomination.
April 4th.
In 1968, civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan calls for an international ban on chemical weapons.
April 5th.
In 1989, The Late Show with David Letterman becomes the first network TV series to use Dolby Stereo. In 1997, Steve Irwin's The Crocodile Hunter debuts on Australian television.
And thus, countless Australian stereotypes were created.
G'day. Crikey.
My crikey.
April 6th.
In 1722, Peter the Great, the Tsar of Russia, ends the tax on men with beards.
Whew, thank God for that.
In 2016, the first baby to be born with DNA from 3 parents through mitochondrial transfer occurs in Mexico.
April... Taking my time with this one. 7th.
In 1906, Mount Vesuvius erupts and devastates Naples. In 1943, in Terabovlia, Ukraine, Germans order 1,100 Jews to undress to their underwear and march through the city of Terabovlia to a nearby village, where they are shot dead and buried in ditches.
April 8th.
In 1968, gangsters Henry Hill and Jimmy Burke commit the Air France robbery, stealing $420,000. In 1983, in front of a live audience of 20 tourists, David Copperfield makes the Statue of Liberty disappear.
April 9th.
In 1961, the Pacific Electric Railway in Los Angeles, once the largest electric railway in the world, ends operations. In 1975, the first game of the Philippine Basketball Association is held, the second oldest professional basketball league in the world.
April 10th, which is coincidentally the day my brother was born.
In 1971, in an attempt to thaw relations with the United States, the People's Republic of China hosts the US table tennis team for a week-long visit. In 1991, a rare tropical storm develops in the South Atlantic Ocean near Angola, the first to be documented by satellites.
April 11th.
In 1961, the trial of Adolf Eichmann begins in Jerusalem for his major organization of the Holocaust. In 1976, the Apple I is created. In 1993, 450 prisoners rioted in the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility in Lucasville, Ohio, doing so for 10 days, citing grievances related to prison conditions, as well as the forced vaccination of Nation of Islam prisoners against their religious beliefs.
April 12th.
In 1999, United States President Bill Clinton is cited for contempt of court for giving intentionally false statements in a civil lawsuit. He is later disbarred and fined. In 2009, Zimbabwe officially abandons the Zimbabwean dollar as its official currency.
Good night, sweet prince. April 13th.
In 1964, at the Academy Awards, Sidney Poitier becomes the first African-American male to win the Best Actor award for the 1963 film Lilies of the Field. In 1976, the United States Treasury Department reintroduces the $2 bill as a Federal Reserve note on Thomas Jefferson's 233rd birthday as part of the United States bicentennial celebration.
April 14th.
In 1986, the heaviest hailstones ever recorded, 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds, fall on the Gopalgan district of Bangladesh, killing 92. In 1999, a severe hailstorm strikes Sydney, Australia, causing 2.3 billion Australian dollars in insured damages, the most costly natural disaster in Australian history.
April 15th.
In 1955, McDonald's restaurant dates its founding to the opening of a franchise restaurant by Ray Kroc in Des Plaines, Illinois. In 1964, the first Ford Mustang rolls off the showroom floor, 2 days before it's set to go on sale nationwide.
Culture, shut the fuck up now. We've got some memey-ass birthdays to present. Here are some significant birthdays that occurred in April. Actor Eddie Murphy. Wrestling superstar John Cena. The B-movies, Jerry Seinfeld.
Gotcha.
And here's some notable people who sadly kicked the bucket during this month. Rock star Kurt Cobain. Founder of Walmart, Sam Walton. Musician and singer/songwriter, Prince.
Crash.
And last but not least,
Don't say it.
my motherfucking man, Gandhi.
Why do you do this?
April 16th.
In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. pens his letter from Birmingham jail while incarcerated in Birmingham, Alabama for protesting against segregation. In 2007, Sung Hai Cho committed the infamous Virginia Tech shooting, gunning down 32 people and injuring 17 before committing suicide.
April
17th.
In 1961, a group of Cuban exiles financed and trained by the CIA lands at the Bay of Pigs in Cuba with the aim of ousting politician Fidel Castro. In 2014, NASA's Kepler confirms the discovery of the first Earth-sized planet in the habitable zone of another star.
April 18th. Happy birthday, Mom. I love ya.
In 1949, Ireland leaves the British Commonwealth and becomes the Republic of Ireland. In 2007, a series of bombings, 2 of them being suicides, occur in Baghdad, killing 198 and injuring 251.
April 19th.
In 1984, Advance Australia Fair is proclaimed as Australia's national anthem, and green and gold is the national colours.
G'day. Crikey.
In 1985, 200 ATF and FBI agents lay siege to the compound of the white supremacist survivalist group, the Covenant, the Sword, and the Arm of the Lord in Arkansas. The CSA surrenders 2 days later, ending their existence.
April 20th, dog.
In 1939, Adolf Hitler's 50th birthday is celebrated as a national holiday in Nazi Germany.
You seem to be including a lot of Hitler-based facts, you know. I'm beginning to have my suspicions.
In 1999, commonly known as the Columbine Massacre, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold killed 13 people and injured 24 others before committing suicide at Columbine High School in Columbine, Colorado.
April 21st.
In 1992, the first discoveries of extrasolar planets are announced by astronomers Alexander Wolfskem and Dale Frail. In 1993, the Supreme Court in La Paz, Bolivia, sentences former dictator Luis Garcia Meza to 30 years in jail without parole for murder, theft, and fraud, and violating the Constitution.
April 22nd.
In 1876, the first baseball game in the history of the National League was played at the Jefferson Street grounds in Philadelphia. This game is often pointed to as the beginning of the MLB. In 1983, the German magazine Stern claims the Hitler diaries had been found in wreckage in East Germany. The diaries are subsequently revealed to be forgeries.
Culture, enough with the Nazi shit! April 23rd.
In 1985, Coca-Cola changes its formula and releases New Coke. The response is overwhelmingly negative, and the original formula is back on the market in less than 3 months. In 1635, the first public school in the United States, Boston Latin School, is founded in Boston.
March winds and April 24th showers.
In 1990, the Hubble Space Telescope is launched from the Space Shuttle Discovery. In 2013, a building collapses near Dhaka, Bangladesh, killing 1,129 people and injuring 2,500 others.
April 25th.
In 1916, Anzac Day is commemorated for the first time on the first anniversary of the landing at Anzac Cove. In 1954, the first practical solar cell is publicly demonstrated by Bell Telephone Laboratories.
April 26th.
In 1981, Dr. Michael R. Harrison of the University of California, San Francisco Medical Center performs the world's first human open fetal surgery. In 1989, the deadliest tornado in world history strikes central Bangladesh, killing upwards of 1,300, injuring 12,000, and leaving as many as 80,000 homeless.
I know we're almost there. April 27th.
In 1992, Betty Boothroyd becomes the first woman to be elected Speaker of the British House of Commons in its 700-year history. In 2006, construction begins on the Freedom Tower in New York City, later renamed the One World Trade Center.
April 28th.
In 1996, the Port Arthur Massacre takes place, where a gunman, Martin Bryant, opens fire at the Broad Arrow Cafe in Port Arthur, Tasmania, killing 35 people and wounding 23 others. This leads to a major gun reformation in Australia.
I see you're more intrigued by the morbid side of April, huh?
In 2011, British politician Ed Balls accidentally tweets his own name, resulting in the creation of Ed Balls Day.
April 29th.
In 1953, the first US experimental 3D television broadcast showed an episode of Space Patrol on Los Angeles' ABC affiliate KECA-TV. In 2015, a baseball game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Chicago White Sox sets the all-time low attendance mark for Major League Baseball. 0 fans were in attendance for the game, as the stadium was officially closed to the public due to the 2015 Baltimore protests.
April 30th, motherfucker, we're done!
In 1938, the animated cartoon short Porky's Hare Hunt debuts in movie theaters, introducing Happy Rabbit, an early prototype of Bugs Bunny. In 2004, US media released graphic photos of American soldiers abusing and sexually humiliating Iraqi prisoners at Abu Ghraib prison. I have to agree with you, Crash, there's some seriously heavy facts in there. But on the bright side, Ed Balls Day. We hope you guys enjoyed this installment of the miniseries, and now know something about April that you previously didn't.
I feel so exhausted. These videos really take the energy out of me, you know?
Stay tuned for the next episode of This Month in History, because there are plenty more facts where that came from.
Crash, are you okay?
This Month in History, May. Hey Crash, today we're going to be talking about the 5th month of the year, May.
Cool!
Really? A mayonnaise costume?
It's pronounced mayonnaise, and I had it made specifically for this video. Who says I don't put in enough effort?
That's ridiculous.
Well, someone has to make this video a smooth, creamy experience, and I'm here to squirt us towards success.
Ugh, why do you always have to make things so sexually unsettling?
Hey, you can't spell success without suck.
Hurry up and start the video or else I'm going to be sick all over the studio. And take that stupid outfit off too.
May 1st.
In 1989, Disney MGM Studios opens at Walt Disney World near Orlando, Florida, the United States. In 1999, SpongeBob SquarePants premieres on Nickelodeon after the 1999 Kids' Choice Awards.
May 2nd.
In 2000, US President Bill Clinton announces that the accurate GPS access would no longer be restricted to the military. In 2011, Osama bin Laden, the suspected mastermind behind the September 11 attacks and the FBI's most wanted man, is killed by the United States Special Forces in Abbottabad, Pakistan.
May 3rd.
In 1957, Walter O'Malley, the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, agrees to move the team from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. In 1960, the off-Broadway musical comedy The Fantastics opens in New York City's Greenwich Village, eventually becoming the longest-running musical of all time.
May the 4th be with you.
In 1959, the first annual Grammy Awards are held.
Soon to be followed by countless more circle jerks in the years to come.
In 1972, the Don't Make a Wave Committee, a fledgling environmental organization founded in Canada in 1971, officially changes its name to the Greenpeace Foundation. In 1979, Margaret Thatcher becomes the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
May 5th.
In 1904, pitching against the Philadelphia Athletics at the Huntington Avenue grounds, Cy Young of the Boston Americans throws the first perfect game in the modern era of baseball. In 1925, the government of South Africa declares Afrikaans an official language.
May 6th.
In 1983, the Hitler Diaries are revealed as a hoax after being examined by experts. In 1996, the body of former CIA Director William Colby is found washed up on a riverbank in southern Maryland 8 days after he disappeared.
May 7th.
In 1994, Edvard Munch's iconic painting The Scream is recovered undamaged after being stolen from the National Gallery of Norway in February. In 2004, American businessman Nick Berg is beheaded by Islamic militants. The act is recorded on videotape and released on the internet.
Please, for your own sake, stay away from that side of the internet, kids! May 8th.
In 1976, the roller coaster The New Revolution, the first steel coaster with a vertical loop, opens at Six Flags Magic Mountain. In 1978, Reinhold Messner and Peter Habler become the first to ascend Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen.
May 9th.
In 1960, the Food and Drug Administration announces it will approve birth control as an additional indication for Searle's Enivid, making Enivid the first approved oral contraceptive pill. In 2001, in Ghana, 129 football fans die in what became known as the Accra Sports Stadium disaster. The deaths are caused by a stampede that followed a controversial decision by the referee.
It's May 10th.
In 1994, Nelson Mandela is inaugurated as South Africa's first black president. In 2013, the One World Trade Center becomes the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere.
May 11th.
In 1813 in Australia, William Lawson, Gregory Blaxland, and William Wentworth lead an expedition across the Blue Mountains west of Sydney. Their route opens up inland Australia for continued expansion throughout the 19th century.
May 12th.
In 2006, Iranian Azeris interpret a cartoon published in an Iranian magazine as insulting, resulting in massive riots throughout the country. In 2008, US Immigration and Customs Enforcement conducts the largest ever raid of a workplace in Postville, Iowa, arresting nearly 400 immigrants for identity theft and document fraud.
May 13th.
In 1939, the first commercial FM radio station in the United States is launched in Bloomfield, Connecticut. The station later becomes WDRC-FM. In 1950, the first round of the Formula One World Championship is held at Silverstone.
May 14th.
In 1643, 4-year-old Louis XIV becomes the King of France upon the death of his father, Louis XIII.
A 4-year-old king? What were his commands? Assistance with eating glue and shitting pureed food?
In 1973, Skylab, the United States' first space station, is launched.
May 15th. It's honestly hurting me so much that I'm running out of ways to say these dates.
In 1928, Walt Disney character Mickey Mouse premieres in his first cartoon, Plane Crazy. In 2004, Arsenal FC go an entire league campaign unbeaten in the English First Division, joining Preston North End FC with the right to claim the title, the Invincibles. In 1929, in Hollywood, the first Academy Awards ceremony takes place. In 1988, a report by the Surgeon General of the United States, C. Everett Koop, states that the addictive properties of nicotine are similar to those of heroin and cocaine. Alright, I know it's coming, so please feel free to get it out of the way.
Here are some significant people who were delivered to us in the beautiful month of May. Actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Twilight's Robert Pattinson. Star Wars creator George Lucas. Live long and prosper, bitches. Prankster Roman Atwood. And of course, here are some noteworthy people who died during May. Artist Leonardo da Vinci. Reggae musician Bob Marley. Jazz singer Frank Sinatra. Explorer Christopher Columbus.
I appreciate you doing that so efficiently, actually. Now, can we move on?
Can I put the costume back on?
No, I can't stand that thing.
I should be free to express myself openly on this show. This is oppression. This is censorship. Culture, you should be ostracized and penalized and circumcised.
Fine, just put the stupid thing on then. Happy? In 1859, members of the Melbourne Football Club codified the first rules of Australian rules football. In 2004, the first legal same-sex marriages in the US are performed in the state of Massachusetts.
May 18th.
In 1912, the first Indian film, Shri Pundalik by Dadasaheb Torn, is released in Mumbai. In 1953, racing pilot Jackie Cochran becomes the first woman to break the sound barrier.
May 19th.
In 1962, a birthday salute to US President John F. Kennedy takes place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The highlight is Marilyn Monroe's rendition of Happy Birthday. In 1963, the New York Post Sunday magazine publishes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail.
May 20th.
In 1891, Thomas Edison's prototype kinetoscope is displayed in public for the first time. In 2010, a social media event is celebrated in response to the Muslim extremist reaction to images of Muhammad.
May 21st.
In 1992, after 30 seasons, Johnny Carson hosted his final episode of The Tonight Show. In 2005, the tallest roller coaster in the world, King Dakar, opens at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson Township, New Jersey.
May 22nd. Oh my.
In 1960, the most powerful earthquake ever recorded, measuring 9.5 on the moment magnitude scale, now known as the Great Chilean Earthquake, hits southern Chile. In 2015, the Republic of Ireland becomes the first nation in the world to legalize gay marriage in a public referendum.
And this is why we should all be Irish. Because they're clearly lovely, considerate people. Not because I'm gay.
Wait, so you are gay then, or...?
You fucking know what I meant! May 23rd.
In 1533, the marriage of King Henry VIII to Catherine of Aragon is declared null and void. In 1995, the first version of the Java programming language is released.
May 24th.
In 1935, the first night game in Major League Baseball history is played in Cincinnati, Ohio, with the Cincinnati Reds beating the Philadelphia Phillies 2-1 at Crosley Field. In 1956, the first Eurovision Song Contest is held in Lugano, Switzerland.
May 25th.
In 1977, the first Star Wars film is released in theaters. In 2011, Oprah Winfrey airs her last show, ending her 25-year run of The Oprah Winfrey Show.
May 26th.
In 1923, the first 24 hours of Le Mans car race was held and has since been run annually in June. In 1998, the Supreme Court of the United States rules that Ellis Island, the historic gateway for millions of immigrants, is mainly in the state of New Jersey, not New York.
May
27th.
In 1967, Australians vote in favour of a constitutional referendum granting the Australian government the power to make laws to benefit Indigenous Australians and to count them in the national census. In 2016, Barack Obama is the first president of the United States to visit Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park and meet its survivors.
Good guy, Bracky Barn Barn. May 28th.
In 1952, the women of Greece are granted the right to vote. In 1999, in Milan, Italy, after 22 years of restoration work, Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, The Last Supper, is put back on display.
May 29th.
In 1973, Tom Bradley is elected the first black mayor of Los Angeles, California. In 2001, the US Supreme Court rules that the disabled golfer Casey Martin can use a car to ride in tournaments.
May 30th.
In 1842, John Francis attempts to murder Queen Victoria as she drives down Constitution Hill in London with Prince Albert. In 2013, Nigeria passes a law banning same-sex marriage.
May 31st, we're done!
In 2013, the asteroid 1998 QE2 and its moon make their closest approach to Earth for the next 2 centuries. In 2005, Vanity Fair reveals that FBI agent Mark Felt was deep-throated.
Culture, are you going to provide any context for that last bit?
Nope.
Okay then. Well, I guess we'll see you guys in next week's video.
This month in history, June. Hi everybody, welcome to our new episode of our mini-series This Month in History. In these videos we discuss a bunch of facts that occurred in the given month, and today is all about the month of
June? More like prune.
Crash.
June? More like baboon.
Please.
June? More like pantaloons.
June? More like an animated cartoon. Because that's all you are.
June? More like Splatoon.
Okay, this intro has dragged on long enough. We need to start the episode. Do you think, Crash?
June 1st.
In 1967, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles is released. In 1980, cable news network, CNN, begins broadcasting.
June 2nd.
In 1962, during the 1962 FIFA World Cup, police had to intervene multiple times in fights between Chilean and Italian players in one of the most violent games in football history. In 1953, the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II takes place.
June 3rd.
In 2012, Tiger Woods' 73rd PGA Tour victory equals the record of Jack Nicklaus. In 2014, President Obama announces his plan for a $1 billion fund to increase deployment of US troops to Europe.
June 4th.
In 1928, the President of the Republic of China, Zhang Zuolin, is assassinated by Japanese agents. In 1998, Terry Nichols is sentenced to life in prison for his role in the Oklahoma City bombing.
June 5th.
In 1984, the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, orders an attack on the Golden Temple, the holiest site of the Sikh religion.
Did you just say Gandhi?
Yes, I did. As in Indira Gandhi, who happens to be a woman, not your beloved Mahatma Gandhi. Man, that obsession still freaks me out.
Those delightful disc-shaped frames and that cute little bald head, though.
In 2006, Serbia declares independence from the State Union of Serbia and Montenegro.
June 6th.
In 1993, Mongolia holds its first direct presidential elections. In 2016, major news outlets report Hillary Clinton as having become the presumptive nominee for US president, the first female in a major party to do so in the country's 240-year history.
June 7th.
In 1968, the body of assassinated US Senator Robert F. Kennedy lies in state at St. Patrick's Cathedral, New York. In 1975, the inaugural Cricket World Cup begins in England.
June 8th.
In 1992, the first World Ocean Day is celebrated, coinciding with the Earth Summit held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. In 2007, Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia, is hit by the state's worst storms and flooding in 30 years, resulting in the death of 9 people and the grounding of a trade ship, the MV Pasha Bolka.
June 9th.
In 1959, the USS George Washington is launched, the first nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine. In 1978, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints opens its priesthood to all worthy men, ending a 148-year-old policy of excluding black men.
Hallelujah! June 10th.
In 1991, 11-year-old Lee Dugard is kidnapped in South Lake Tahoe, California. She would remain a captive until 2009. In 2016, former The Voice contestant Christina Grimmie is fatally shot in Orlando, Florida, following a concert. She died from her injuries at the age of 22.
June 11th.
In 1982, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, directed by Steven Spielberg, is released. In 2002, Antonio Meucci is acknowledged as the first inventor of the telephone by the United States Congress.
June 12th, the day I thought Final Fantasy XII was coming out. Turns out it's next month. Oh well, what can you do?
In 1942, Anne Frank receives a diary for her 13th birthday. In 1967, the United States Supreme Court declares all US state laws which prohibit interracial marriage to be unconstitutional.
June 13th.
In 1977, convicted Martin Luther King Jr. assassin James Earl Ray is recaptured after escaping from prison 3 days before. In 2013, Czech investigative authorities start a raid against organized crime, affecting the top levels of Czech politics.
June 14th, baby.
In 1959, the Disneyland monorail system, the first daily operating monorail system in the Western Hemisphere, opens to the public in Anaheim, California. In 1989, US President Ronald Reagan receives an honorary knighthood from Queen Elizabeth II.
June 15th.
In 1954, the Union of European Football Associations is formed in Basel, Switzerland. In 1970, cult leader Charles Manson goes on trial for the Sharon Tate murders.
All right, let me take it from here, buddy. It's time for the life and death part of the video, yeah! Who are some notable people born in June, you ask?
Nobody asked that.
Pop singer and YouTuber Troye Sivan. Actor Johnny Depp. I used to love him so much, but I feel like he's kind of gone downhill. US President Donald Trump. YouTube gamer Markiplier. And now for the more somber half of the segment, the following people unfortunately passed away in the month of June. Boxer Muhammad Ali, the truest superhero in life. Musician Ray Charles. Actor John Wayne. Pop singer Michael Jackson. Have you guys seen the video of all of Michael Jackson's grunts? It's hilarious.
What, no reference to Gandhi this time?
I figured there was no need since we mentioned him earlier in the episode.
Thank God for that. Anyway, moving on.
June 16th.
In 1903, the Ford Motor Company is incorporated. In 2016, Philadelphia becomes the first US state to pass a tax on sweetened drinks.
June 17th, honey.
In 1970, Edwin Land patents the Polaroid camera. In 1994, O.J. Simpson, after not turning himself in for murder charges, is chased by police in Los Angeles for 90 minutes before giving himself up on live TV. In 1858, Charles Darwin receives a paper from Alfred Russel Wallace that includes nearly identical conclusions about evolution as Darwin's own, prompting Darwin to publish his theory. In 1940, Winston Churchill performs his notable Finest Hour.
June 19th.
In 1978, Garfield, holder of the Guinness World Record for the world's most widely syndicated comic strip, makes its debut. In 1992, Batman Returns, starring Michael Keaton as Batman and Danny DeVito as the Penguin, is released.
Fucking love Danny DeVito.
In 1975, the film Jaws is released in the United States, becoming the highest-grossing film of that time and starting the trend of films known as summer blockbusters. In 2003, the Wikimedia Foundation is founded in St. Petersburg, Florida.
June 21st.
In 2006, Pluto's newly discovered moons are officially named Nix and Hydra. In 2009, Greenland assumes self-governance.
Go Greenland! Ain't no motherfucker holding you down! June 22nd.
In 1984, Virgin Atlantic Airways launches with its first flight from London Heathrow Airport. In 1990, Adam Sandler joins Saturday Night Live.
June 23rd.
In 1955, Walt Disney's Lady and the Tramp is released. In 1980, The David Letterman Show makes its debut on NBC.
June 24th.
In 1949, the first television western, Hop Along Cassidy, is aired on NBC, starring William Boyd. In 2010, Julia Gillard assumes office as the first female Prime Minister of Australia.
June 25th.
In 1978, the rainbow flag representing gay pride is flown for the first time during the San Francisco Gay Freedom Day parade. In 1981, Microsoft is restructured to become an incorporated business in its home state of Washington.
June 26th.
In 1906, the first Grand Prix motor racing event is held. In 2003, the US Supreme Court rules that gender-based sodomy laws are unconstitutional.
June 27th.
In 1979, boxer Muhammad Ali confirms that his third retirement is final. But it isn't. In 2007, Tony Blair resigns as British Prime Minister, a position that he had held since 1997.
June 28th, I thought I'd stop that June. I was kind of thinking of Jitterbug. I'll stop.
In 1964, Malcolm X forms the Organization of Afro-American Unity. In 1996, The Nutty Professor, starring Eddie Murphy, is released.
Some things are better off remaining unreleased to the public. For example, personal details, children from the basement, episodes of CultureCrash, Culture's penis, and most certainly, The Nutty Fucking Professor. June 29th.
In 2000, Eminem's mother goes to court claiming defamation of character in a $10 million civil suit, taking exception to her son claiming that she smokes more dope than he does in his song My Name Is. In 2007, Apple Inc. releases its first mobile phone, the iPhone.
June 30th.
In 1984, Pierre Trudeau officially steps down as Prime Minister of Canada after serving 2 separate terms for a total of 15 years. In 1990, East Germany and West Germany merged their economies.
Is that all of it?
Crash, you really should know how many days are in a month. Actually, let's see if you know this. How many days are in the next month? Damn it, Crash. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this installment of our mini-series. We'll no doubt be back with another one next month. See you then. This month in history, July. Hey Crash, today we'll be discussing notable events that happened throughout history during the month of July. More specifically, we're going to be creating the July edition of our mini-series, This Month in History.
Hell yeah, Culture, let's do this!
Wow, someone's feeling enthusiastic today. What's gotten into you?
I realize that July is the 7th month, which means we are more than halfway done with this shitty-ass series!
And here I was thinking you'd finally start to enjoy it.
Totally!
Regardless, let's get into this.
July 1st.
In 1963, zip codes are introduced for United States mail. In 2007, smoking in England is banned in all public indoor spaces.
July 2nd.
In 1962, the first Walmart store opens for business in Rogers, Arkansas. In 1897, British-Italian engineer Guglielmo Marconi obtains a patent for radio in London.
July 3rd.
In 1938, the world speed record for a steam locomotive is set in England by the Mallard, which reaches a speed of 125.88 miles per hour, or 202.58 kilometers per hour. In 1890, Idaho is admitted as the 43rd US state.
July 4th.
In 1776, US Congress proclaims the Declaration of Independence and gains independence from Britain. In 2009, the Statue of Liberty's crown reopens to the public after 8 years of closure due to security concerns following the September 11 attacks.
July 5th.
In 1994, Amazon.com is founded in Bellevue, Washington by Jeff Bezos.
And what a wondrous fucking day it was.
In 2016, the FBI releases reports stating that Hillary Clinton is extremely careless in handling classified emails.
July 6th.
In 1994, Forrest Gump, starring Tom Hanks, is released. In 2016, Pokemon Go, the real-world mobile game by Niantic, is first released.
July 7th!
In 1996, Nelson Mandela steps down as president of South Africa. In 2011, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, the last Harry Potter film, premieres in London.
July 8th!
In 2010, the film Inception, directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, premieres in London, UK. In 2015, the New York Stock Exchange stops trading for nearly 4 hours due to a technical error.
July 9th.
In 1962, pop artist Andy Warhol hosts his first West Coast gallery exhibition in the Ferris Gallery of Los Angeles. In 1997, Mike Tyson is banned from boxing for biting Evander Holyfield's ear.
Good riddance! What a dick move. July 10th.
In 1985, Playboy published nude pictures of Madonna. In 1998, the Diocese of Dallas agrees to pay $23.4 million to 9 former altar boys who had claimed that they were sexually abused by Rudolf Koss, a former priest.
July 11th!
In 1960, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee is first published by J.B. Lippincott & Co. In 1988, Mike Tyson hires Donald Trump as an advisor.
July 12th!
In 1843, Mormon leader Joseph Smith says that God allows polygamy. In 1996, Michael Jordan signs an NBA contract for 1 year for $25 million.
July 13th.
In 1939, Frank Sinatra makes his recording debut.
I love me some Frank Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me.
In 1987, federal judge throws out Bette Midler's $10 million suit against Ford Motor Co., who used a sound-alike voice for their TV commercials.
July 14th!
In 1988, WYHY Radio offers $1 million to anyone who can prove that Elvis Presley is still alive. In 2008, the film The Dark Knight, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, premieres in New York.
July 15th!
In 1932, US President Herbert Hoover cuts his own salary by 15%. In 1988, Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman, is released in the United States.
July 16th.
In 1969, the Apollo 11 launched, carrying the first men to land on the moon. In 1979, Iraqi President Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr is succeeded by Saddam Hussein.
July 17th.
In 1964, ANC leader Nelson Mandela, recently sentenced to life imprisonment, is awarded the Joliet Curie Gold Medal for Peace. In 2004, former South African President Nelson Mandela calls for commitment by the world to take action against AIDS.
You have AIDS, Culture. Be quiet now, okay?
What? Why?
Because it's time for the life and death segment of the video! A few significant people who were born in July include, but are not limited to, actor Tom Cruise, comedian Kevin Hart, YouTube star iDubbbz, author J.K. Rowling.
You know, you could just start up this segment without being rude and interrupting me every time. It's just disrespectful.
And here are some significant people who unfortunately left us during July. U.S. President Thomas Jefferson, martial arts and actor Bruce Lee, singer-songwriter Amy Winehouse, painter Vincent van Gogh.
Wait. What was that noise?
What noise?
The one I heard between you saying Amy Winehouse and painter Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, nothing. Probably a glitch or something. Anyway, moving on!
Nah, I want to know what that was. Let's replay that. Now let's boost the volume and slow it right down.
My BFF, Mr. Gandhi!
God damn it, Crash.
July 18th!
In 2012, Kim Jong-un is officially appointed Supreme Leader of North Korea and given the rank of Marshal in the Korean People's Army. In 2015, PayPal is spun off from eBay as a separate publicly traded company on the stock market.
July 19th!
In 1976, after 10 albums, rock group Deep Purple disbands. In 2007, the first episode of Mad Men debuts, with John Hamm starring as Don Draper.
July 20th.
In 2006, during an appearance on The Tonight Show, Colin Farrell is confronted by telephone sex worker Desiree Bradford, who had been stalking the actor. In 2015, hacker group The Impact Team announced that they have hacked married dating site Ashley Madison.
July 21st.
In 1996, The Daily Show, hosted by Craig Kilborn, premieres on Comedy Central in the US. In 2007, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the final book in the series by J.K. Rowling, is published worldwide, selling 11 million copies in 24 hours.
July 22nd.
In 1992, Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar escapes prison. In 1994, O.J. Simpson pleads absolutely 100% not guilty of murder.
Something about that sounds suspicious to me.
July 23rd.
In 2000, the 87th Tour de France is won by Lance Armstrong. In 2012, however, the United States Anti-Doping Agency announced they had disqualified Armstrong for his admitted doping.
On the same fucking day 12 years later.
Hey, it's July 24th.
In 1938, instant coffee is invented. In 1969, Muhammad Ali is convicted for refusing induction in US Army on appeal.
Hey, it's July 25th.
In 1997, Autumn Jackson is found guilty of trying to extort $40 million from Bill Cosby. In 2016, Verizon announces a $4.38 billion purchase of Yahoo.
Hey, it's July 26th.
In 1951, Walt Disney's 13th animated film, Alice in Wonderland, premieres in London. In 2016, Hillary Clinton becomes the first female nominee for the President of the United States by a major political party at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia.
Hey, it's July 27th.
In 1890, Vincent van Gogh shoots himself and dies 2 days later. In 1940, the animated short A Wild Hare is released, introducing the character of Bugs Bunny.
Now, don't spread this around, but, confidentially, I am a rabbit!
July 28th. That voice is kind of hard to do on the throat.
In 1866, at the age of 18, Vinnie Ream becomes the first and youngest female artist to receive a commission from the United States government for a statue of Abraham Lincoln. In 2001, Australian Ian Thorpe becomes the first swimmer to win 6 gold medals at a single world championship.
July 29th.
In 1948, after a hiatus of 12 years caused by World War II, the first Summer Olympics to be held since the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin opens in London. In 1981, a worldwide television audience of over 700 million people watched the wedding of Charles, Prince of Wales, and Lady Diana Spencer at St. Paul's Cathedral in London.
July 30th.
In 1932, Walt Disney's Flowers and Trees premieres, the first cartoon short to use Technicolor and the first Academy Award-winning cartoon short. In 2006, the world's longest-running music show, Top of the Pops, after 42 years, is broadcast for the last time on BBC Two.
July 31st.
In 1961, Israel welcomes its 1 millionth immigrant. In 2016, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, a play by Jack Thorne with contributions by J.K. Rowling, is published worldwide at midnight.
That's everything, isn't it?
Well, for this episode, yeah, it is.
The one thing I love about this show is the sensation of relief that washes over me each time you say those words.
Come on, man. You haven't even been trying to enjoy this video. Do I have to start roasting you publicly again?
I love this series. I love our channel. I love our viewers and culture. I love you.
You don't have to be so over the top with it, though. Jeez.
I love everything, culture. Love is everything. Please don't fucking roast me.
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video and have learned something new about the month of July. This month in history, August. Hey Crash, today we're going to be...
I know. I see the posters over there. It's another This Month in History. Great.
Why the long face, buddy? These videos are a lot of fun.
Maybe for you. It's just, all I really do on this miniseries is shout out the dates aloud like a fucking frog with Tourette's.
Don't be so hard on yourself, man. Would you prefer to have more speaking roles in these videos? I remember in a previous episode you were going on about how much you wouldn't want that. Have you changed your mind?
I think so.
That's okay, we're a team. Whatever makes you happy, makes me happy. Adjustments can be made to everything if need be, and you can begin today's episode by reading the facts if you'd like.
Thanks, Culture. I mean, I'm the best part of this channel, so I should be in the limelight.
Hey, don't make me change my mind, alright? August 1st.
In 1944, Anne Frank writes her last diary entry before being arrested 3 days later. Poor form, I could have done way better. In 1987, Mike Tyson beats Tony Tucker in 12 rounds to become the undisputed heavyweight boxing champion. I bet Tyson beats a lot more than just that guy. Like the justice system. He seemed like the kind of guy who can rape someone and only serve 3 years in prison. Oh wait, he fucking is!
Alright. I'm definitely changing my mind now. Crash, just do your usual job. I'll take it from here. Sorry about that, everyone.
August 2nd.
In 1776, the US Declaration of Independence was formally signed by 56 people. In 1934, Adolf Hitler becomes Commander-in-Chief of German Armed Forces.
You know, I feel like we should do a whole video on Nazi Germany. It's so obvious that you have an interest in the topic. August 3rd!
In 1492, Christopher Columbus set sail on his first voyage with 3 ships, the Santa Maria, Pinta, and Nina, for the Indies. In 1971, Paul McCartney announces formation of his group, Wings.
August 4th. Bitch.
In 1956, Elvis Presley releases one of his first hit singles, Hound Dog. In 2015, Robert Downey Jr. is named the world's highest paid actor by Forbes magazine, earning $80 million.
August 5th, baby.
In 1974, US President Richard Nixon admits he withheld information about Watergate break-in. In 1975, Stevie Wonder gains a $13 million contract with Motown.
August 6th.
In 1996, George R.R. Martin publishes the epic fantasy novel A Game of Thrones, the first in his series A Song of Ice and Fire. In 2015, comedian Jon Stewart hosts The Daily Show for the last time.
August 7th!
In 2007, the 3rd book in Stephenie Meyer's Twilight saga, Eclipse, is published. In 1985, Takao Doi, Mamoru Mori, and Chiaki Mukai are chosen to be Japan's first astronauts.
August 8th.
In 1876, Thomas Edison patents the mimeograph. In 1945, President Harry Truman signs the United Nations Charter.
August 9th.
In 1995, South Africa celebrates the first National Women's Day.
Woo! Equality!
In 2001, US President George W. Bush announces his support for federal funding of limited research on embryonic stem cells.
August 10th.
In 1985, Michael Jackson buys ATV Music, the owner for every song by the Beatles, for $47 million. In 2015, Google announces its restructure as Alphabet, a holding company with Google, YouTube, Android, and Chrome as subsidiaries.
August 11th.
In 1929, Babe Ruth becomes the first professional baseball player to hit 500 homers. In 1984, during a radio voice test, US President Reagan jokes he signed legislation that would outlaw Russia forever. We begin bombing in 5 minutes.
Jeez, that's gutsy.
August 12th.
In 1877, Thomas Edison invents the Edison phone, a sound recording device.
With a creative name, too.
In 1955, US President Eisenhower raises minimum wage from 75 cents to $1 an hour.
August 13th.
In 1997, South Park's first episode is aired on Comedy Central. In 2015, Swedish prosecutors announced that they are dropping allegations against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange of sexual molestation and coercion.
August 14th.
In 1936, Rainey Bethea is hanged in Owensboro, Kentucky, in the last public execution in the United States. In 1945, Japan surrenders unconditionally to end World War II.
August 15th!
In 1969, Woodstock Music and Art Fair opens in New York State on Max Yazga's dairy farm. In 2015, North Korea creates its own time zone, moving its clocks back half an hour to Greenwich Mean Time plus 8.5 hours.
August 16th. Yar, I be a pirate.
In 1962, Ringo Starr replaces Pete Best as the Beatles drummer. In 2008, Usain Bolt sets a new 100 meters world record of 9.69 seconds at the Beijing 2008 Summer Olympics.
Finally, the moment I've been waiting all episode for, the life and death segment. If you're new around here, kiddies, this is the mid-video break where I finally get my well-deserved solo screen time. Yeah! The following names are people who were born during the month of August. Sweet Life's colon, Dylan Sprouse. Jonas brother, Joe Jonas. Model and reality star, Kylie Jenner. Actor Chad Michael Murray. I don't know who any of these people are, except for Sweet Life of Zack and Cody people. I've forgotten their names already. And Jonas' brother, Joe Jonas. Whatever. It doesn't matter. They'll be dead soon. Hopefully. And now here are some people who passed away during this month. Actor and comedian Robin Williams. I saw an episode of Law and Order he starred in the other day, actually. Huh. Funny. King of Scotland, Macbeth. Wales, Princess Diana. First man on the moon, Neil Armstrong. Wait, he's dead? He's the dude who's missing a testicle, right?
You're thinking of Lance Armstrong, Crash. Two very different people.
Oh.
August 17th, baby!
In 1979, Monty Python's Life of Brian, directed by Terry Jones and starring Graham Chapman and John Cleese, premieres. In 1998, US President Bill Clinton admits in taped testimony that he had improper physical relationship with intern Monica Lewinsky, and on the same day admits before the nation that he misled people about the relationship.
August 18th.
In 1960, the Beatles give their first public performance at the Kaiserkeller in Hamburg. In 1986, the Howard Stern radio show premieres in Philadelphia.
Hey, it's August 19th. I've done this before, but I'm running out of...
Well, I'm running out of ways to say the dates. I might just go straight from now on.
In 1868, Jules Janssen discovered helium during a solar eclipse. In 2009, World Humanitarian Day was commemorated for the first time.
August 20th.
In 1900, Japan's primary school law is amended to provide for 4 years of mandatory schooling. In 1866, President Andrew Johnson formally declares the US Civil War is over.
August 21st.
In 1911, the Mona Lisa is stolen from the Louvre by Vincenzo Perugia. In 1959, Hawaii becomes the 50th US state.
August 22nd.
In 1902, US President Theodore Roosevelt became the first US chief executive to ride in a car. In 2014, the second person dies from Ebola in Nigeria, Africa's most populated country.
August 23rd.
In 1850, the first US National Women's Rights Convention convenes in Worcester, Massachusetts. In 1996, Osama bin Laden issues a message entitled A Declaration of War Against the Americans Occupying the Land of the Two Holy Places.
August 24th.
In 1981, Mark David Chapman is sentenced to 20 years to life for John Lennon's murder.
Yeah, take that, asshole.
In 2011, Tim Cook succeeds Steve Jobs as CEO of Apple Inc. due to Jobs' illness.
August 25th.
In 1768, Captain James Cook departs from Plymouth, England on his first voyage on board the Endeavour, bound for the Pacific Ocean. In 1958, Momofuku Ando markets the first package of pre-cooked instant noodles called Shikin Ramen.
This guy is literally almost as fucking cool as my boy, Gandhi. That's no small feat. August 26th. Oh my god, we're almost done.
In 1971, Bobby Orr signs a 5-year contract with the Boston Bruins, worth $1 million, the first $1 million contract in NHL history. In 1996, US President Bill Clinton signs a welfare reform into law, representing a major shift in welfare policy.
August 27th. I'm so excited I'm almost done with this.
In 2008, Barack Obama becomes the first African American to be nominated by a major political party for President of the United States. In 2014, Birdman, directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu and starring Michael Keaton and Zach Galifianakis, premieres at the Venice Film Festival.
August 28th.
In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. delivers his I Have a Dream speech, addressing Civil Rights March at Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. In 1965, Bob Dylan is booed for playing the electric guitar at a concert in New York's Forest Hills.
August 29th.
In 1966, the Beatles performed their last public concert at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. In 2012, USADA claims to have stripped Lance Armstrong of his 7 Tour de France titles.
It's because he's lacking 50% of his testicles, isn't it?
Doping, Crash. He took performance-enhancing drugs.
I'd be much more distraught about my MIA testicles if I'm honest. August 30th.
In 1979, US President Jimmy Carter is attacked by a rabbit on a canoe trip in Plains, Georgia. In 2015, at the MTV Video Music Awards, Kanye West announces he will run for president in 2020.
We're slowly getting more and more uncomfortably close to that year. And with the current state of politics, anything could happen. And that terrifies me.
August 31st, baby, I'm done!
In 1968, Private Eye magazine reports that the John Lennon and Yoko Ono album will have a picture of them nude on the cover. In 1997, Diana, Princess of Wales, dies in a car crash in a road tunnel in Paris. So there you have it, guys. The August edition of This Month in History is complete. That wasn't so bad, was it?
It was appalling. You gave me what I wanted in the beginning and then snatched it from me like it was nothing. That's just like me giving you a book you've always wanted, but inside it all you find are the words, "fuck you," scrawled on every page. It hurts.
Hey, you said some insanely controversial things and you haven't done more than 2 facts.
What's your point?
Look, on the bright side, you did get to joke about a man's testicles.
Yeah, this episode was pretty great.
This Month in History, September. Hey Crash, today we're going to be doing the 9th episode of our mini-series This Month in History, therefore focusing on the month of September.
September is a month of sadness. The dark clouds form around my skull like handcuffs around a criminal's wrists. The overwhelming tempest eroding the very part of me which is capable of seeing light and feeling hope. I'm numb, I'm cold, and I'm lost. Where does one go when he has nowhere left to turn?
Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, of course, Culture. Why wouldn't I be?
That's a relief. For a second there, I thought that,
The downpour stings my skin and takes what's left of my weary mind, laying me to rest for the final time.
Alright, I think after this episode we'll have to take you to a psychiatrist or something. The things you're saying aren't normal.
When have I ever said anything normal?
Yeah, fair point. Are you okay to continue the episode?
Yeah, no problem. As the episode goes on, you'll learn exactly what's put me in this low-spirited state.
Alright, well, do your thing, Crash.
September 1st!
In 1939, Hitler orders extermination of the mentally ill. In 2015, Pope Francis tells priests to pardon women who have had an abortion in a letter released by the Vatican.
September 2nd!
In 1944, Holocaust diarist Anne Frank is sent to Auschwitz concentration camp. In 1987, Donald Trump takes out a full-page New York Times ad lambasting Japan.
September 3rd!
In 1967, Sweden begins driving on the right-hand side of the road. In 2013, Microsoft purchases Nokia for $7.2 billion.
September 4th!
In 1998, Google is formally incorporated by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, two students at Stanford University. In 1997, the Howard Stern radio show premieres in Louisville, Kentucky.
September 5th!
In 1698, Russian Tsar Peter the Great imposes a tax on beards.
That bastard!
In 1991, Nelson Mandela is chosen as the president of African National Congress.
September 6th!
In 1994, actor Jackson Pinckney is awarded $487,000 for being partially blinded by Jean-Claude Van Damme during the filming of Cyborg. In 2012, Barack Obama accepts the Democratic nomination for US president.
Hey there, everybody, it's me, BoJack Horseman, famous star from the 90s sitcom Horsing Around. Just wanted to tell you all it's September 7th.
Okay, I'll never do that again. I love BoJack Horseman.
In 1996, rapper Tupac Shakur was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, dying 6 days later.
Oh, God!
Oh, I see why you're acting so weird. Your idol passed away in September.
He's not a mere fucking idol to me, you asshole! Tupac is nothing short of a living god!
A living god?
Damn you, P. Diddy! First you take Tupac, then Biggie!
In 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen's mockumentary Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan, premieres at the Toronto Film Festival. In 1974, US President Gerald Ford pardons the former President Richard Nixon of all federal crimes. In 1986, The Oprah Winfrey Show is first broadcast nationally.
Everybody, look underneath your seats! I have given you all a copy of my brand new novel! You get a copy, you get a copy, and you get a copy! September 9th!
In 1971, John Lennon releases his Imagine album. In 2015, Queen Elizabeth II becomes Great Britain's longest reigning monarch at 63 years and 7 months, beating the previous record set by her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria.
September 10th!
In 1991, grunge rock band Nirvana releases their single Smells Like Teen Spirit. In 1999, Fight Club, directed by David Fincher and starring Edward Norton and Brad Pitt, premieres at the Venice Film Festival.
September 11th!
In 1962, drummer Ringo Starr replaces Pete Best of the Beatles. In 2001, 2 passenger planes hijacked by terrorists crash into New York's World Trade Towers, causing the collapse of both and deaths of 2,752 people.
September 12th. I've gotten over it now.
In 1995, INXS's Michael Hutchence pleads guilty to punching a photographer. In 2012, Apple unveils its iPhone 5 and iOS 6.
September 13th!
In 1981, creator and producer of Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels, weds model Susan Forrestal. In 1989, Les Miserables opens at Fisher Theatre in Detroit.
September 14th. Yeah, that's right, I'm a cowboy now.
In 1901, Theodore Roosevelt is sworn in as the youngest man to serve as US president, after William McKinley finally dies after an anarchist shoots him in Buffalo. In 2015, 14-year-old Texan Ahmed Mohammed is arrested at school when his homemade clock is assumed to be a bomb. Mark Zuckerberg and US President Barack Obama send supportive tweets.
September 15th!
In 1928, Scottish bacteriologist Alexander Fleming discovers penicillin while studying influenza. In 1998, Google.com is registered as a domain name.
All right. Can we get on with the segment that people actually care about now? Let's take a look at some notable people who were born during the month of September. Can I get a holla? Vine star Cameron Dallas. Never heard of him. Actor Adam Sandler. I really liked Happy Gilmore when I was a kid. Singer Nick Jonas. Rapper Lil Wayne. All of those morons are lame as hell anyway. Let's move on!
I'm relieved to see you're not so gloomy anymore.
I've had time to think it all over and come to terms with things. I just wasn't prepared to be reminded of such a tragedy so soon. So now let's take a look at some notable people who passed away during the month of September! Lord of the Rings author J.R.R. Tolkien. Rock guitarist Jimi Hendrix. Did you know there's actually a manga about a, music teacher who has the spirit of Jimi Hendrix inhabiting their body? Go check it out. Children's author Dr. Seuss. Calculatus Eliminatus is still the best fucking method to find anything to this day. And...
Come on, Crash. What's the last name on the list, buddy?
Fuck my life, Culture! Tupac didn't deserve to die, and neither did Biggie Smalls. And you know what's worse?
What's that?
We had two gods taken from us in September. Tupac and my sexy-ass soulmate, the glorious Mr. Gandhi!
Ugh, God, when will this unfunny joke end?
Never call Gandhi's death a joke!
September 16th.
In 1941, Adolf Hitler orders that for every dead German, 100 Yugoslavs should be killed. In 1983, Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes a US citizen.
September 17th.
In 1683, Dutch scientist Antoine van Leeuwenhoek is the first to report the existence of bacteria. In 1900, the Commonwealth of Australia is proclaimed.
September 18th.
In 1971, Momofuku Ando markets the first cup noodle, packaging it in a waterproof polystyrene container. In 1997, Ted Turner gives $1 billion to the United Nations, creating the public charity the United Nations Foundation.
September 19th.
In 1975, Fawlty Towers starring John Cleese, Prunella Scales and Andrew Sachs premieres on BBC Two in the UK.
A beautiful moment for television history.
In 2011, Ashton Kutcher debuts on 2.5 Men, replacing Charlie Sheen.
A fucking shit moment for television history. September 20th.
In 1976, Playboy releases Jimmy Carter's interview that he lusts for women. In 2005, model Kate Moss is dropped by clothing chain H&M after allegations of drug taking.
Wait a second, what were we doing again? Oh yeah, September 21st.
In 1995, the Hindu milk miracle occurs, in which statues of the Hindu god Ganesh began drinking milk when spoonfuls were placed near their mouths. In 2016, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan pledged $3 billion to medical research to cure, prevent, or manage all diseases by the end of the century.
September 22nd.
In 1980, John Lennon and Yoko Ono sign a recording contract with Geffen Records. In 1985, St. Louis Cardinals set an unusual baseball streak record by winning 9 of 10 games, each pitched by a different man.
September 23rd.
In 1889, the Nintendo Koppai, or Nintendo Company, is founded by Fusajiro Yamauchi to produce and market the playing card game Hanafuda. In 2003, crime drama NCIS premieres on CBS.
September 24th!
In 2012, books by Japanese authors or about Japan are suspended by Chinese bookstores. In 1968, 60 Minutes, an American news magazine television program, debuts on the CBS.
September 25th.
In 1906, Leonardo Torres Quevedo successfully demonstrates the invention of the telekino, guiding a boat from the shore in what is considered the birth of the remote control. In 1977, about 4,200 people take part in the first running of the Chicago Marathon.
September 26th.
In 1960, the first televised debate takes place between presidential candidates Richard M. Nixon and John F. Kennedy.
You know, I've never understood why people watch those stupid debates. They just seem like a pussy, snobby alternative to watching the UFC.
In 1969, Abbey Road, the last recorded album by the Beatles, is released.
September 27th.
In 1968, the stage musical Hair opens at the Shaftesbury Theatre in London, where it played 1,998 performances until its closure was forced by the roof collapsing in July 1973. In 1908, the first production of the Ford Model T automobile is built at the Paquette plant in Detroit, Michigan.
September 28th.
In 1892, the first night game for American football takes place in a contest between Wyoming Seminary and the Mansfield State Normal. In 1941, CBS makes the first color televisions available for sale to the general public, but the product is discontinued less than a month later.
September 29th.
In 1951, the first live sporting event is seen coast to coast in the United States. A college football game between Duke and the University of Pittsburgh is televised on NBC. In 1916, American oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller becomes the world's first billionaire.
September 30th.
In 1882, Thomas Edison's first commercial hydroelectric power plant, later known as the Appleton Edison Light Company, begins operation on the Fox River in Appleton, Wisconsin. In 2005, the controversial drawings of Muhammad are printed in the Danish newspaper Jylland-Posten.
September 31st, baby, winter!
Crash? There's no such date as September 31st.
God damn it, man. Could this day get any worse?
Well, I hope you all enjoy this installment of This Month in History. Hopefully you'll be leaving us with a new piece of knowledge.
If any of our viewers actually have any empathy, they'll be leaving this video heartbroken. This shit was soul-shattering.
If anyone here is emotionally questionable, buddy, it's you. This Month in History, October. Hey Crash, today we'll be doing yet another episode of our This Month in History series. More specifically, today we'll be focusing on the month of October.
Now this is a month I can work with.
You put more effort into that stupid mayonnaise thing than you did for an actual dress-up event.
What can I say? Mayonnaise holds a special place in my heart. Besides, this costume is kick-ass anyway. And I'm sure it's better than anything you could put together.
Yeah, well, you'll just have to wait and see then, won't you?
Wait, you're actually getting dressed up? Culture is taking part in something fun? Show me, show me, show me!
What better time to show it off than on the date of Halloween itself?
But that's ages away!
Better get started then.
October 1st.
In 1962, Barbra Streisand signs her first recording contract with Columbia. In 1977, Brazilian soccer great Pelé retires with 1,281 goals in 1,363 games.
October 2nd.
In 2001, Scrubs, starring Zach Braff, premieres on NBC. In 2016, Kim Kardashian is robbed at gunpoint of $10 million worth of jewelry in her hotel in Paris.
October 3rd.
In 1945, Elvis Presley makes his first public appearance at the age of 10. In 1995, O.J. Simpson is found not guilty of the murder of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman in Los Angeles, California.
October 4th.
In 1537, the first complete English-language Bible, the Matthew Bible, is printed with translations by William Tyndale and Miles Coverdale. In 1539, King Henry VIII marries Anne of Cleves, his fourth wife.
I'll make you my fourth wife.
October 5th.
In 1962, the Beatles released their first record, Love Me Do. In 2005, vampire novel Twilight by Stephanie Meyer is first published by Little Brown.
October 6th.
In 1939, Hitler announces plans to regulate the Jewish problem. In 2012, Paolo Gabriele, Pope Benedict XVI's butler, is found guilty of leaking confidential documents and is sentenced to 18 months imprisonment.
October 7th.
In 2001, the US invasion of Afghanistan starts with an air assault and covert operations on the ground. In 2016, Washington Post releases videotape of Donald Trump boasting of groping and kissing women without consent.
Good old Trump.
October 8th.
In 1971, John Lennon releases his mega hit Imagine. In 2001, US President George W. Bush announces the establishment of the Office of Homeland Security.
October 9th.
In 1973, Elvis and Priscilla Presley divorce after 6 years. In 2006, North Korea allegedly tests its first nuclear device.
October 10th.
In 1899, African-American inventor Isaac R. Johnson patents the first bicycle frame. In 2008, Singapore becomes the first Asian country to slip into a recession since the credit crisis began. Growth has faltered as a result of less demand for exports, a reduction in tourism, and the end of the real estate boom.
October 11th.
In 1737, an earthquake kills 300,000 people and destroys half of Calcutta, India. In 2006, 30 Rock, starring Tina Fey, Alec Baldwin, and Tracy Morgan, debuts on NBC.
October 12th.
In 1915, Ford Motor Company under Henry Ford manufactures its 1 millionth Model T automobile. In 1999, the proclaimed 6 billionth living human in the world is born.
October 13th.
In 1884, Greenwich in London is established as the universal time meridian of longitude. In 2016, American singer-songwriter Bob Dylan is awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature.
October 14th.
In 1933, Nazi Germany announces its withdrawal from the League of Nations. In 1986, the Nobel Peace Prize is awarded to Auschwitz survivor Elie Wiesel for his efforts to ensure the Holocaust was remembered.
October 15th.
In 1951, Mexican chemist Luis E. Miramonte synthesizes the first oral contraceptive. In 2000, Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm debuts on HBO.
October 16th!
In 1923, the Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio is founded. In 2004, Lionel Messi, aged 17, makes his league debut for Barcelona against Espanyol.
Okay. Let me jump in right here, Culture, to announce some of the wonderful people who were born during the month of October. American Idol Simon Cowell. Rapper Snoop Dogg.
Smoke weed every day.
Actor Zac Efron. I actually haven't seen a single movie of his since High School Musical. YouTube star and recently target of hate, I guess, PewDiePie! And now, let us bow our heads in remembrance for those who unfortunately left us this month. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, who died because of his reliance on alternative medicine. The one true real Superman, Christopher Reeve. My God, he was handsome. NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain. I have no idea who that is. Comedian and TV personality Steve Allen.
Crash, I appreciate you not mentioning
Gandhi.
I was this close to praising you. You know that?
October 17th!
In 1888, Thomas Edison files a patent for the optical phonograph, the first movie. In 2012, Lance Armstrong loses a host of endorsements in the wake of his doping scandal.
October 18th.
In 1867, the US takes formal possession of Alaska from Russia, having paid $7.2 million. In 1922, the British Broadcasting Company, BBC, is founded.
October 19th!
In 2005, Saddam Hussein goes on trial in Baghdad for crimes against humanity. In 2015, US scientists from the University of California find evidence life on Earth may have begun 4.1 billion years ago, 300 million earlier than previously thought.
October 20th.
In 1864, US President Abraham Lincoln formally establishes Thanksgiving as a national holiday. In 1973, Queen Elizabeth II opens the Sydney Opera House.
Did you know that the Opera House was designed using sliced oranges?
Sorry to burst your bubble there, but that's just a stupid myth kids tell each other in the playground. The architect, Utzon, was influenced in his designs by bird wings, the shape and form of clouds, shells, walnuts, and palm trees. No sliced oranges in there, buddy.
Why do you have to ruin everything?
October 21st.
In 1950, the Chinese forced the occupation of Tibet. In 1975, Elton John is given a star in Hollywood.
October 22nd.
In 1879, Thomas Edison perfects carbonized cotton filament light bulb. In 1988, Elton John sells out Madison Square Garden for a record 26th time.
October 23rd.
In 1977, paleontologist Elso Bargun announced his discovery of a 3.4 billion-year-old one-celled fossil, the earliest life form. In 1981, the US national debt hits $1 trillion.
October 24th.
In 1857, the world's first soccer club, Sheffield FC, is founded in Yorkshire, England. In 2008, Bloody Friday saw many of the world's stock exchanges experience the worst declines in their history, with drops of around 10% in most indices.
Yeah, because I know what that means. October 25th.
In 1995, singer Cliff Richard receives his knighthood from Queen Elizabeth II, the first rock star to be knighted. In 1968, Yoko Ono announces she is having John Lennon's baby.
October 26th.
In 1863, the Football Association forms in England, standardizing soccer, splitting with rugby. In 1988, Donald Trump bills Mike Tyson $2 million for his 4 months advisory service.
October 27th.
In 1982, China announces its population has reached 1 billion plus people. In 1954, Walt Disney's first TV show, Disneyland, premieres on ABC.
October 28th.
In 1538, the first university in the New World, the Universidad Santo Tomás de Aquino, is established on Hispaniola. In 1904, St. Louis police try a new investigation method, fingerprints.
October 29th.
In 2004, Arabic news network Al Jazeera broadcasts an excerpt from a video of Osama bin Laden, in which he admits direct responsibility for the September 11, 2001 attacks. In 2015, China announces the end of their one-child policy after 35 years.
October 30th!
In 2003, Wicked premieres on Broadway at the Gershwin Theatre in New York City. In 2012, Walt Disney purchases Lucasfilm Limited and its rights for Star Wars and Indiana Jones for $4.05 billion.
October 31st, Halloween!
In 1918, Spanish flu virus kills 21,000 in US in 1 week. In 2003, Bethany Hamilton, age 13, has her arm bitten off by a shark while surfing in Hawaii.
So, where's your costume, man? You said you would put it on when we got to Halloween.
Actually, I think I said I'd show you on Halloween, didn't I? Is today Halloween, Crash?
Oh, you motherfucker!
Thank you all so much for watching this installment of This Month in History. This Month in History, November. Hey Crash, today marks the day of our second last This Month in History installment ever. If I'm completely honest, I'm surprised you've stuck with it for this long.
You know, it's been quite a roller coaster ride, but it's been worth it. The ups and downs, the side to sides, the fucking backflips and 180s. Everything has somehow been worth it in the end.
Is that you speaking from the heart, or are you just glad to be nearly finished with the series?
Don't force me to ruin such a nice moment, Culture.
Ugh, okay, let's get this started.
November 1st.
In 1977, US President Jimmy Carter raises the minimum wage from $2.30 to $3.35 an hour. In 2010, actor Charlie Sheen divorces socialite Brooke Mueller due to irreconcilable differences after 2.5 years of marriage.
Oh, come on! That's just asking to be made fun of. November 2nd.
In 1920, Adam Martin White became the first former professional American football player to be elected to the United States Congress. In 1983, US President Ronald Reagan signs a bill establishing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
November 3rd.
In 1954, the first Godzilla film is released and marks the first appearance of the title character, Godzilla. In 2014, the One World Trade Center officially opens.
November 4th.
In 1952, the United States government establishes the National Security Agency, or NSA.
November 5th.
In 1605, Guy Fawkes, involved in the gunpowder plot to assassinate King James I, is arrested. In 2009, US Army Major Nadal Malik Hassan murders 13 and wounds 32 at Fort Hood, Texas, in the deadliest mass shooting at the US military installation.
November 6th.
In 1965, Parker Brothers acquires the Forerunner patents for Monopoly from Elizabeth Magie.
Do you guys ever wonder if these assholes are all working together behind the scenes? Just me? carry on then.
In 2012, Tammy Baldwin becomes the first openly gay politician to be elected in the United States Senate.
November 7th.
In 1991, Magic Johnson announces that he is infected with HIV and retires from the NBA. In 1994, WXYC, the student radio station of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, provides the world's first internet radio broadcast.
Here of my one. Haha, bet you didn't see that one coming. I said it in reverse.
In 1923, in Munich, Adolf Hitler leads the Nazis in an unsuccessful attempt to overthrow the German government. In 1960, John F. Kennedy defeats Richard Nixon in one of the closest presidential elections of the 20th century to become the 35th president of the United States.
November 9th.
In 1960, Robert McNamara is named president of Ford Motor Co., the first non-Ford to serve in that post. In 1967, the first issue of Rolling Stone magazine is published.
November 10th.
In 1983, Bill Gates introduces Windows 1.0.
What a fucking game changer.
In 1989, German citizens begin to bring the Berlin Wall down.
November 11th.
In 1675, Gottfried Leibniz demonstrates integral calculus for the first time to find the area under the graph of y as a function of x. In 1992, the General Synod of the Church of England votes to allow women to become priests.
November 12th.
In 1555, the English Parliament re-establishes Catholicism. In 1993, the first Ultimate Fighting Championship event, UFC 1, is held in Denver, Colorado.
November 13th.
In 1940, Walt Disney's animated musical film Fantasia is first released, on the first night of a roadshow at New York's Broadway Theater. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murders his entire family in Amityville, Long Island, in the house that would eventually become known as the Amityville Horror.
November 14th.
In 1922, the British Broadcasting Company begins radio service in the United Kingdom. In 2008, the first G20 Economic Summit opens in Washington, D.C.
November 15th, motherfucker!
In 1791, the first US Catholic college, Georgetown University, opens its doors. In 1971, Intel releases the world's first commercial single-chip microprocessor, the 4004. I'm gonna go ahead and pass this video over to Crash before he disrespectfully interrupts me again, as he always—
Here are some notable people who were born in the month of November. Drake and Josh's Josh Peck. Actor Leonardo DiCaprio. Love that guy. TV personality Jimmy Kimmel. Only ever heard of him. YouTube star Rice Gum. Only ever heard of him, and the script says, fuck that guy. Okay.
No, but did it feel good though?
And here are some wonderful people who passed away during this month. Arthur Roald Dahl. Aw. Queen's Freddie Mercury. Made in Heaven. If you couldn't tell, Made in Heaven is my favorite Queen song. Actor Paul Walker. Daredevil Evel Knievel. I miss you, Knievel. But do you know what I'll never miss? An opportunity to put on this badass costume. Fuck yeah!
Wow, talk about disrespectful.
November 16th.
In 1920, Qantas, Australia's national airline, is founded as Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Services Limited. In 1904, English engineer John Ambrose Fleming receives a patent for the thermionic valve, the vacuum tube.
November 17th.
In 1982, Duck Koo Kim dies from injuries sustained during a 14-round match against Ray Mancini in Las Vegas, prompting reforms in the sport of boxing. In 2008, Twilight, starring Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, premieres.
Jeez, who else here wishes that day never happened? Raise your hands! November 18th, almost there.
In 1988, US President Ronald Reagan signs a bill into law allowing the death penalty for drug traffickers. In 1928, the animated short Steamboat Willie is released, the first fully synchronized sound cartoon. This is considered by the Disney Corporation to be Mickey Mouse's birthday.
November 19th.
In 1969, Apollo 12 astronauts Pete Conrad and Alan Bean land at Oceanus Procellarum and become the third and fourth humans to walk on the moon. In 1990, pop group Milli Vanilli are stripped of their Grammy Award because the duo didn't sing on the Girl You Know It's True album.
November 20th.
In 1789, New Jersey becomes the first US state to ratify the Bill of Rights. In 1805, Beethoven's only opera, Fidelio, premieres in Vienna.
November 21st.
In 1877, Thomas Edison announces his invention of the phonograph, a machine that can record and play sound. In 1902, the Philadelphia Football Athletics defeated the Canoiola Athletic Club of Elmira, New York in the first ever professional American football night game.
November 22nd.
In 1936, Life magazine is reborn as a photo magazine and enjoys instant success. In 1968, the Beatles released The Beatles, known popularly as the White Album.
November 23rd.
In 1992, the first smartphone, the IBM Simon, is introduced at Comdex in Las Vegas, Nevada. In 1889, the first jukebox goes into operation at the Palais Royal Saloon in San Francisco.
November 24th.
In 1963, in the first live televised murder, Lee Harvey Oswald, the assassin of President John F. Kennedy, is murdered 2 days after the assassination by Jack Ruby. In 1859, Charles Darwin publishes On the Origin of Species, a landmark book in evolutionary theory.
Fucking nerd. November 25th.
In 1984, 36 top musicians gather in a Notting Hill studio and record Band-Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas in order to raise money for famine relief in Ethiopia. In 1999, the UN establishes the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
November 26th.
In 1789, a National Thanksgiving Day is observed by the United States as proclaimed by President George Washington at the request of Congress. In 1917, the National Hockey League is formed, with the Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Wanderers, Ottawa Senators, Quebec Bulldogs, and Toronto Arenas as its first teams.
Oh yeah, November 27th.
In 1835, James Pratt and John Smith are hung in London. They are the last two to be executed for sodomy in England. In 2005, the first partial human face transplant is completed in Amiens, France.
November 28th.
In 1814, the Times in London is for the first time printed by automatic steam-powered presses, signalling the beginning of the availability of newspapers to a mass audience. In 1914, following a war-induced closure in July, the New York Stock Exchange reopens for bond trading.
November 29th.
In 1972, Atari announces the release of Pong, the first commercially successful video game. In 1899, the FC Barcelona Association Football Club is founded.
November 30th.
In 1982, Michael Jackson's second solo album, Thriller, is released worldwide. It will become the best-selling record album in history. In 1872, the first ever international football match takes place at Hamilton Crescent in Glasgow, between Scotland and England. Well, there you have it.
The second to last episode. Done and dusted. I know, Culture. I know.
After this series finishes, what would you guys like to see? Another new series, or perhaps more of our already established content? We'd love to know what you guys are interested in.
Please don't suggest anything boring. Hosting the show alongside Culture already gives me plenty of that.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something interesting. As always, thanks for tuning in. Crash, are you forgetting something?
What? Yeah. Gandhi reference.
There we go. Now we're done here. This month in history, December. Hey Crash, guess what? Today marks the final ever episode of what has been our first ever mini-series, This Month in History.
Culture. Buddy. This is one hell of an occasion.
I know how you feel, man. I'm gonna miss it too, but hey, we can always start up a new monthly miniseries, or just another series of some sort.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Fuck yeah, man. Cool?
Oh, we could even do a year-long weekly series about math. How does that work for you?
Fuck you, okay? Just fuck you!
Well, don't lie to me then. Anyway, let's focus on the positives here. This is an extremely exciting month. We've got Christmas, Crash. Christmas. If I'm honest, I'm surprised you haven't whipped out some sort of cheap, gimmicky, holiday-themed costume for the episode.
Huh? Did you say something, arsehole?
Come on, somebody's gonna see this poor attempt at a costume and take it the wrong way, if you know what I mean. You're on thin ice already, buddy. Be careful.
Ho, ho, ho!
What on earth are you supposed to be?
I'm Sexy Santa, and someone's been a naughty boy, baby! I mean, Culture!
On second thought, a Christmas sweater will suffice. Besides, we already have the illustration resources prepared for that from last year. These are the warmest, most festive little pixels I have been gifted yet.
Alright, hurry this up, we need to get this video started.
December 1st!
In 1955, Rosa Parks is arrested for refusing to move to the back of a bus and give her seat to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama. In 1913, Ford Motor Company institutes the world's first moving assembly line for the Model T Ford.
December 2nd!
In 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte is crowned Emperor of France in Paris. In 1993, Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar is shot and killed in Medellin.
December 3rd!
In 1976, an assassination attempt is made on Bob Marley, getting shot twice but playing a concert only 2 days later. In 1994, the PlayStation was released in Japan.
Anyone else absolutely love the original Crash Bandicoot video games on PlayStation 1?
For some reason, I feel like there's a lot of bias.
I sure as hell don't. Spyro for life, motherfucker! December 4th!
In 1954, the first Burger King is opened in Miami, Florida. In 1980, English rock group Led Zeppelin officially disbands, following the death of drummer John Bonham on September 25th.
December 5th!
In 1848, US President James K. Polk triggers the gold rush of 1849 by confirming gold discovery in California. In 1952, a cold fog descends upon London, combining with air pollution and killing 12,000 in the weeks and months that follow.
December 6th!
In 1877, the first recording is made of a human voice by Thomas Edison, reciting Mary Had a Little Lamb. In 1967, Adrian Kantrowitz performs the first human heart transplant in the United States.
December 7th, baby!
In 1963, Instant Replay makes its debut during an American Army-Navy football game. In 1982, in Texas, Charles Brooks Jr. becomes the first person to be executed by lethal injection in the United States.
December 8th, motherfucker!
In 1980, John Lennon is murdered by Mark David Chapman in front of the Dakota in New York City. In 2010, with the second launch of the SpaceX Dragon, SpaceX becomes the first privately held company to successfully launch, orbit, and recover a spacecraft.
December 9th!
In 1960, the first episode of Coronation Street, the world's longest-running television soap opera, is broadcast in the United Kingdom. In 1979, the eradication of the smallpox virus is certified, making smallpox the first and to date only human disease driven to extinction.
That's metal as fuck. December 10th!
In 1884, Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is published. In 1901, the first Nobel Prizes were awarded.
December 11th.
In 1972, Apollo 17 becomes the sixth and last Apollo mission to land on the moon. In 1934, Bill Wilson, co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, takes his last drink and enters treatment for the last time.
December 12th!
In 1901, Guglielmo Marconi receives the first transatlantic radio signal in Morse code at Signal Hill in St. John's, Newfoundland. In 2012, the Sandy Relief Concert took place at Madison Square Garden and was on 20 international TV networks to raise money for the victims of Hurricane Sandy.
December 13th, I'm a robot now.
In 1949, the Knesset votes to move the capital of Israel to Jerusalem. In 1990, South African President F.W. de Klerk meets with Nelson Mandela to talk about the end of apartheid.
December 14th.
In 1903, the Wright brothers make their first attempt to fly with the Wright Flyer at Kitty Hawk in North Carolina. In 2012, 28 people, including the gunman, are killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Sandy Hook, Connecticut.
December 15th.
In 1939, Gone with the Wind receives its premiere at Loew's Grand Theatre in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. In 2001, the Leaning Tower of Pisa reopens after 11 years and $27 million spent to fortify it, without fixing its famous lean.
That's right, everybody, it's December 16th!
In 1907, the American Great White Fleet begins its circumnavigation of the world. In 1997, a Japanese airing of the Den-o Senshi Porygon episode of Pokemon induces seizures in 685 viewers.
On that cheerful note, let me take over and show the wonderful people at home some notable people who were born this month! Metal singer Ozzy Osbourne. All aboard! Recording artist Nicki Minaj. My anaconda does not want anything to do with that, actually. Actress Raven Simone. God damn, That's So Raven was the shit. And Corey in the House was shit. Let's get sad for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, in remembrance of those who kicked the bucket during this ironically joyous month. Former South African President Nelson Mandela. I used to call my dick Nelson Mandela. First U.S. President George Washington. 20 years. Fuck, that's Abraham Lincoln. Oh, wait, I got it. I cannot. Fuck, that's also Abraham Lincoln. What did George Washington do? Comedian Charlie Chaplin. And no, my dear viewers, I will not be attempting to make a crude reference to my cutie pie spouse, Mr. Gandhi himself, motherfucker. I love you, man.
And yet you still managed to anyway.
December 17th.
In 1989, America's longest-running sitcom The Simpsons debuts. In 1987, Final Fantasy is released in Japan on the Famicom, marking the start of the Final Fantasy series and saving Square from bankruptcy.
December 18th.
In 1997, HTML 4.0 is published by the World Wide Web Consortium. In 2002, fashion designer Calvin Klein announces he is selling his company to shirt maker Philips Van Heusen for $430 million.
December 19th.
In 1932, BBC World Service begins broadcasting as the BBC Empire Service. In 1967, Harold Holt, the Prime Minister of Australia, is officially presumed dead after disappearing while swimming at Cheviot Beach.
December 20th.
In 1957, the initial production version of the Boeing 707 makes its first flight. In 1996, Next merges with Apple Computer, starting the path to Mac OS X.
December 21st.
In 2012, the Walt Disney Company completed the acquisition of Lucasfilm and of the Star Wars franchise. In 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the world's first full-length animated feature, premieres at the Cathay Circle Theatre.
December 22nd.
In 1965, in the United Kingdom, a 70-mile-per-hour speed limit is applied to all rural roads, including motorways, for the first time. Previously, there had been no speed limit. In 2010, the repeal of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, a policy banning homosexuals serving openly in the United States military, is signed by President Barack Obama.
December 23rd, it's almost Christmas!
In 1823, A Visit from St. Nicholas, also known as The Night Before Christmas, is published anonymously. In 1954, the first successful kidney transplant is performed by J. Hartwell Harrison and Joseph Murray.
December 24th!
In 1818, the first performance of Silent Night takes place in the Church of St. Nicholas in Oberndorf, Austria. In 1865, the Ku Klux Klan is formed.
Tent-looking assholes. December 25th, everybody! It's Christmas!
In 1974, Marshall Fields drives a vehicle through the gates of the White House, resulting in a 4-hour standoff. In 2008, Phil Jackson becomes the 6th coach in NBA history to win 1,000 games.
December 26th. Almost fucked up there, I'm keeping it anyway.
In 1799, 4,000 people attend George Washington's funeral, where Henry Lee III declares him as first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. In 2012, China opens the world's longest high-speed rail route from Beijing to Guangzhou.
December 27th! Exactly 1 month from my birthday. Better start sending presents, everybody.
In 1878, Spain becomes a democracy after 40 years of dictatorship. In 1927, Showboat, considered to be the first true American musical play, opens at the Ziegfeld Theatre on Broadway.
December 28th!
In 1944, Maurice Richard becomes the first player to score 8 points in one game of NHL ice hockey. In 1958, the Baltimore Colts defeat the New York Giants in the first ever National Football League sudden death overtime game.
December 29!
In 1997, Hong Kong begins to kill all the nation's 1.25 million chickens to stop the spread of a potentially deadly influenza strain. In 2016, Barack Obama retaliates against Russia for hacking American computer systems and trying to influence the 2016 presidential election by ejecting 35 Russian spies and imposing sanctions.
December 30th, mother... Oh wait, we're not done yet. There's one more.
In 1977, for the second time, serial killer Ted Bundy escapes from his cell in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. In 2006, former president of Iraq Saddam Hussein is executed.
It's over. My journey, finally complete. It's finally come to an end. It's all down to this. All I have to say is the date, and we'll be done. It's finally here!
December 31st, motherfucker! We're finally done! Like, actually, forever done this time!
In 1923, the chimes of Big Ben are broadcast on radio for the first time by the BBC. And in 1977, Donald Trump gives birth to Donald Trump Jr.
Really? You have the fucking nerve to end this series on a fact like that? The last thing you want to mention is the fucking devil spawn?
Hey, I thought you didn't care. I thought you were eager to just get this series over and done with.
I am.
Crash, in the beginning of the video, what did I say about lying? Well, don't lie to me then. Don't lie to me then. Well, don't
It's
lie to me.
hilarious.
Crash? What are you doing?
It's like I've been a struggling stay-at-home mother on the brink of a fucking meltdown for the past year, and my child has only just recently blossomed into a beautiful little educational butterfly. Then that same goddamn butterfly is being swatted out of the fucking sky by the hand of Father Time himself. Life isn't fair, culture. It just isn't.
You really do just get stranger and stranger, don't you?
Yep.
Anyway, thank you guys as always for checking out this video. We hope you enjoyed and potentially learned something new today. This might be the end of this series, but we've got so much more planned for the channel's future.
Follow CultureCrash